Hey guys, just doing a quick video on how to deal with a slipping clutch on a motorcycle. And first thing you want to check, which is pretty common, is your clutch lever. The way you do that is first you grab it and just feel if there is any play in that lever. So see how this first part of the action here is quite loose? So that means that the piston inside here is not engaged yet, it's just kind of floating. If your lever is very tight, as in you can feel tension right from the start, then you've probably got an adjustment issue with your lever, or something is not quite right in this area. If the lever is fine, then we need to look at the clutch assembly, and that is behind this fairing here. So we'll take that off and then we'll start having a look at the plates inside the clutch assembly there. Yeah, so we're going to open her up and have a look. Get yourself a piece of paper or cardboard and just mark out the holes roughly where they go on the cover plate. So that's your cover plate there. You've got 8mm bolts all around, and what I did was just get a piece of cardboard and I just got a screwdriver and just punched some holes roughly where they are. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just so you can put them back with ease when you go to reassemble it. Socket with an extender on there, undo all these. So what I'd like to do is loosen them with a ratchet and then just do it by hand, just with the socket. Okay, so I got all the bolts out in my template there, and as you can see, that bracket is a good reference. When you look at the cover, they're a little bit all over the place, but at least I know that bracket goes here where this pipe is. Now, to pull the cover off, sometimes if they've been there for a while they get a bit stuck. I recommend getting like a rubber mallet, a rubber hammer, and just giving it some light taps. So I've got this rubber hammer. She's a bit old, but she does the trick. Give it a few little bangs here and there. You should hear that sound. Yep, she's loosened up. When she's separated, now she's ready to come off. So we'll go ahead and pull this off. That came off really easily. And there we have it. So first thing you do is just check the casing. Just looking for any scoring or marks. And then we have a look at the clutch assembly. I don't want to touch any of that, but it is good just to check, you know, things are tight. Nothing's loose, that tensioner there. And you just want to have a good look around the clutch assembly, even get your finger in there and just feel if there's any shrapnel, any loose parts or anything. What I'm just going to use is a very simple Allen key, and just make sure you have the right size. We'll just check. Yep, that fits good. And this is just to loosen up initially. So these can get very tight, but they shouldn't be too hard. For loosening, it's not really necessary to do it in any certain pattern. Just trying to get them to the point where they can come out easily. Use a T-handle. Let's see, I'm doing this one-handed again. So if you stick to hand tools, yeah, it does take a bit longer. However, you're not putting any excessive force anywhere that it shouldn't. Okay, so I've got all the springs out, and I've just put them in that same template there. Pull that cover off. Just have a good look at it. So I'll just put that down here and start pulling these plates out. So just go ahead and pull all those out. So just using a small screwdriver. Okay, I've got all my plates out now. It was a little bit tricky getting to the ones right down the back. I had to get a screwdriver at the top and then a screwdriver at the bottom and basically slide them out. You'll know you're at the end when you see that that is all one piece. So that there is your inner hub and this here is your outer basket. Okay, I've got my new plates here. I've got my new springs here. So I've got a little bit of engine oil just in a cap there, and as I'm putting this back together, I'm just going to dab it on the friction plates. Dab a bit of oil on my finger, put that on there, you'll see how that just absorbs. You also want to double check that you have the right plates and that you have the right springs. Just line them up like so. You can see that lines up perfect. What you can do is just sit them side by side, have a good look. They actually look identical to me. Make sure you do both sides when you're oiling these. What you can do with the steels, if you think they're a bit too smooth, grab a piece of sandpaper and put it down on a really flat surface. Basically put that down, and I like to sort of grab it and spin it around and around and around like that, and you know, give it a good sort of scuffing. And what that does is flattens out that surface and gives it just that sort of bit of grippiness to it, rather than being completely smooth, and just helps it bite. Anyway, little tip for you. Bit of a two-handed job trying to get these plates lined up. You can see how perfect they are when they slide in. Let's give them a little push at the end to make sure they're all fitting nice and snug. You can replace them with steel, which is the good news. Just plonks on there. Let's make sure that's on there good. So the springs are basically a bolt with like a cup head washer, and that's it. Okay, so we've got all 6 in there. Now we'll start tightening. So we've got them all bottomed out. I'll just start at the top, and because they're small bolts, you don't need a lot. You only need just like a little tweak every one. I'll probably go through twice. So you go the opposite, and you can just feel that tension. Ideally, you would use a torque wrench. Oh, hear that spring tighten. Back to the first one again. And if you look up the manual, you'll be able to find the proper torque specification for this bolt. So we're just going to put the cover back on. Just got the gasket sealant on there. And this is where our little template comes in handy. So I always like to start with the one with the bracket. Okay, pop him in there and just finger tight to start. Got to remember you've got at least a dozen bolts holding this cover on, so you don't have to have them ridiculously tight because they all work together. So that's that. If you've used a sealant like this, I always like to give it 24 hours before switching on the bike, because obviously the oil is going to swirl around in there, and you want that to set properly and seal really well. Alright.